That is for keeping me in the dark. And that is for making me a master thief. And that is for ruining our second, third anniversary.
She's one of Hollywood's biggest stars, with any number of memorable film credits to her name. But did you know that Julia Roberts also knits? And she almost never drops a stitch. Julia Roberts, at 54, is a beautiful woman. She was People magazine's most beautiful woman in the world, a record 5 times. But at Smyrna, Georgia's Campbell High School,
oh, Miss Panthera.
Not even a runner-up.
I have to say, the pinnacle of my looks was that one moment.
After graduation in 1985, she followed her sister Lisa, an aspiring actor, to New York City. Their older brother, Eric Roberts, was already established. But acting wasn't her plan. She sold running shoes.
I was a quick lacer. I was really good at lacing.
And yet, what happened?
Well, I was walking down the street. This is the truth.
This story begins with I was walking
down the street with my brother and his then girlfriend and passed someone that they knew, and that person was a talent agent.
Daisy!
No more selling shoes.
Think we might get that pizza served while it's still hot?
I think maybe.
Julia Roberts was waiting tables in Mystic Pizza, a low-budget film that's become a cult classic.
We are all hateful, awful people. Here, all we've been talking about is weddings and psychotic animals.
The newcomer in the stellar cast of Steel Magnolias. But 1990 was a different story. An unlikely story made Julia Roberts, who's never had an acting class, a star. You got the part of the drug-addicted prostitute who has a relationship with a very rich man.
And the end of the movie was him stopping the car, opening the passenger door, basically pushing her out into the street and driving away.
Good on you for getting that part.
Thank you.
Yeah. Pretty grim stuff. And then the studio went bust.
I think over the course of a weekend, I didn't have a job. And then about a week later, they said, oh, the script was sold to Disney.
Disney?
Yeah, right?
With Gary Marshall, known for Family Fare, The Odd Couple, and Happy Days, directing. He didn't see Roberts in the part, but as a courtesy, he did see her.
And he goes, what's the story with you? Some people say you can't dress her up. Some people say you can't dress her down. I don't know what it is. I said, I don't know what it is.
It was a perfect fit, is what it was. And that dress is one of the most iconic in film.
Did you enjoy the opera, dear? Oh, it was so good, I almost peed my pants. What?
Julia Roberts.
In 2001, Julia Roberts won Best Actress for Erin Brockovich. And might have won for Best Dress, too.
I love it up here.
You turned up in a vintage Valentino.
It was a beautiful dress that I tried on the Saturday before the Sunday of the Oscars for the first time. We didn't do anything to it. It fit perfectly.
And she put it away.
My daughter was digging through the closet looking for possible prom dresses last spring. It was like, what's this dress? And I said, well, try it on. It was too big for her, but she looked so lovely. And
your daughter didn't know that that was her mother's Oscar?
I don't think she did.
She has 3 children with her husband of 20 years, Daniel Moder.
I always think that they all look like me, and then Danny comes home from work and I go, oh, that's who they look like.
Moder is a cinematographer whose film was premiering at Cannes. He took their daughter.
She is a one-of-a-kind, that girl. I mean, we were FaceTiming actually right before they went out, and she was laying on the bed, and I said, what time is there? What are you guys doing? He goes, oh, Dad's, just putting his tie on. We're getting ready to go. And I said, oh, are you ready? Yeah. Like, she didn't really look ready to me. Ponytail, and I was like, little eyeliner. She was like, I didn't bring eyeliner, Mom. What are you talking about? And I was like, okay, yeah, eyeliner. Who needs eyeliner? Just can. I mean, you know, it's just sweet, just the innocence. She's just with her dad. It's not about anything else.
What are you doing?
You said this was your last job, Jerry.
The couple first met on the set of The Mexican. Brad Pitt was her co-star.
I was watching knowing that you might at that time been crushing on one of the guys behind the camera.
Yeah. I think he and Brad were crushing on each other. I felt like I was constantly interrupting their conversations because they would sit there and they would be talking about music and I'd be like, oh, I like that song.
Today, she says her career and family are both important, but not equally so.
It's just never consumed me, being an actor. It is my dream come true, but it is not my only dream come true.
What are the other dreams?
The life that I've built with my husband, the life that we've built with our children, and that's the best stuff, to come home at the end of the day triumphantly to them. Excuse me, ma'am, I need to sit somewhere else.
I'm sorry, it's a full flight.
We used to be married.
It's the worst 19 years of my life.
We were only married for 5.
For the first time in 20 years, she's starring in a romantic comedy, out next week. Reunited with longtime friend George Clooney, Ticket to Paradise was shot on location in Australia. It was the longest she'd ever been away from her family.
62 days. I wrote a lot of letters.
You could probably have sent emails pretty quickly.
Yeah, but that's kind of boring, and you don't get the cool stamps, and it's something Danny and I have always done. The first letter he ever wrote me, which was 7 pages long, I still have it tucked away. One day I'll show it to Hazel and say, that's what you're looking for.
An avid knitter on the set during downtime, as you can see here.
Adept in domestic arts, Roberts learned how to knit on a movie set 30 years ago.
We call it our lonely meters. How lonely were you last night? I'm like, pull out like this much knitting. Look how lonely I was. And yeah, I've been knitting ever since.
I brought my knitting.
I cannot wait to see this.
To call it my knitting is a stretch.
Ooh, you've got a little tight stitch here. Wow, Jane Pauley, tight knitter. That's how people are going to talk about you now. Do you know what a tight knitter Jane Pauley is?
You describe yourself as a homemaker.
When I'm not working, that is my full-time job. And it isn't, you know, rainbows and kittens every day, but it does bring me a lot of joy.
And you do breakfast before school?
I love breakfast. It's my favorite meal. My younger boy, Henry, he's my breakfast partner.
Am I right in thinking that Jane Pauley might be standing in the way of you and getting home to your family?
Yeah.
Because you've got to get home, I presume, for breakfast in the morning for Henry.
Yeah.
Yes.
We love our breakfast.
Where's the dressing room? Upstairs. Upstairs? Yeah.
Producer, director, writer, actor, John Houseman has done everything in the theater but dance. He founded this group called The Acting Company, which he nurtured from the Juilliard School to professional status.
Where's his trunk? Are you staying at our hotel? No. Oh. I'm not good enough for you. It's not even in the phone book. Good night, children. Good night. Thanks for coming. See you in Australia. Well, I maneuvered a little.
Years in the upper reaches of such varied enterprises as the Voice of America and MGM have given Houseman, when away from the enthusiasms of backstage, a slightly weary suavity.
Good.
When I need a good lawyer, I know where to go.
He handled a Houston pre-theater party with the deftness he brought to keeping Orson Welles' Mercury Theater afloat and himself afloat in the warlord days of Hollywood.
Years. And he said, you've ruined my life because I've always been quite severe, but now anytime I try to be severe, they say, oh, come on, don't be like Kingsfield. I call on you, ask you a question, and you answer it. Why don't I just give you a lecture? Because through my questions, you learn to teach yourselves.
Professor Kingsfield, played by Houseman in the film The Paper Chase, was a perfect symbol of the arrogant Ivy League Brahmin. When one considers that Houseman was born in Romania and raised in France and England, one salutes his acting and relishes the irony.
Yes, you're on a treadmill. My little questions spin the tumblers of your mind. You're on an operating table. My little questions are the fingers probing your brain. You teach
The motion picture world saluted Houseman's acting with an Oscar, and he went on to a Paper Chase TV series, in which he continued his crusty clubman characterization.
Region where all your knowledge and all your law cannot provide a clear answer. Will one of you try to dispel the fog for us?
Though the series was short-lived, it stamped Houseman on the public consciousness.
Mr. Bell.
Proof is in his curmudgeonly presence in commercials, the industrial equivalent to knighthood.
Good investments don't walk up, bite you on the bottom, and say, we're here. Finding them takes good old-fashioned hard work, research.
Does it surprise you and possibly amuse you that you, with this odd background, have become a sort of symbol of American WASP respectability as an actor?
It amuses the hell out of me, yes. Indeed it does.
And is it a role that you have consciously assumed?
No. You know, I'm asked that all the time, and it would be a terrible thing to think that I walked around playing Dr. Kingsfield in my private life. I don't think so.
In Houston, Houseman combined a visit with his company and promotional appearances for his new book, Front and Center, covering his years as producer and director.
Mr. Houseman, you're a man of several nationalities and many careers. And you say in your book that at 41 you weren't quite sure what you wanted to be. Are you sure now?
No.
What alternatives open to you?
Well, in the course of my life, I could never have answered that question because all kinds of startling new alternatives kept appearing, and I sincerely trust that they'll continue to appear.
Pressure is the price the producer pays for the limousines and lavish lunches. Houseman and director Vincent Minnelli had agricultural pressures in the making of the Van Gogh film Lust for Life.
Minnelli was doing Kismet, and they wouldn't let him out of Kismet. So we bought this wheat field, and it ripened very properly, as God wanted it to. And a cable arrived from Paris saying the wheat field is ready. When do we start shooting? But Minnelli still had another 2 or 3 weeks to go on Kismet. So we went over there, and we kept praying that there wouldn't be a storm. The farmer got furious, and he said, I'm losing my crop. So we had to buy his crop, too. And finally, just as the wheat was beginning to sag, Minnelli arrived, and we were able to shoot the scene. And 3 days later, the wheat was gone.
Do you remember any moments in your production career which were comic enough to be worth remembering and fun?
Well, there were so many. I remember in particular one, I think, quite funny episode. Towards the end of my time in Metro, I did a picture with Fritz Lang. And Fritz Lang had a reputation of being a formidable and terrifying Prussian character. So I hardened myself and prepared. As a producer, I wasn't going to have any nonsense from this director, and I was ready to fight every inch of the way. But it turned out that this was totally unnecessary because he was an absolute pussycat, and we got on terribly well. But there was one day when he reverted to type, and I came down the stairs out of my office towards the set, and as I approached the set, I heard this terrible voice saying, you are lazy, you are paid a lot of money, and you are not working, and so you are deceiving your employer, and this is a terrible thing for you to be doing. And as I rounded the corner, I saw Fritz addressing a boy of 7 who happened to be the child star of our picture, Moonfleet, and it was to him that he was saying these things.
Clear, please. A71, Apple, take 2 more.
Back row! Action!
It's the start of a long day for Bette Midler.
Cut!
Nice. No, I don't like it. I'm going to try one without a grab, just a touch.
She's on the set of her latest film, That Old Feeling, a romantic comedy directed by Carl Reiner and co-starring Dennis Farina.
But then what?
Then you're doing impersonation.
No, we stopped that. She cut that.
Midler is also producing the film for her company, All Girl Productions, which she started 12 years ago with her close friend Bonnie Bruckheimer.
We had big, big dreams when we first started. We had, we're going to conquer this and that. And then, of course, reality sets in. And now we would be very happy just to make comedies.
Your partner has said that politeness doesn't get you anywhere in Hollywood.
Yeah, you can't be too polite. You can't. You have to be, it's a guy's game, and you have to play it, the way they play it. And so you learn some new things to say and some new names to call people, and, you ratchet up your voice a couple of notches, and you can get what you want.
I love being the other woman. I think it's better.
Not getting what she wanted is one reason Midler ended her exclusive deal with Disney. She says she got tired of studio executives shooting down her ideas.
We want to know about the reality of pitching 80 ideas and not having any of them stick.
What's it like? It's hell. That's why they call it development hell.
It takes its toll on you.
It definitely takes its toll on, and more on your spirit than on anything else. But the idea that every idea you come up with is terrible. It really kind of undermines your confidence after a while.
But in your industry, you're given a lot of credit.
And I'm really funny.
Midler proved that with her last picture, The First Wives Club.
I want him dumped!
It was a huge hit, grossing more than $100 million. Giving Bette something to crow about.
20% of the gates, who'd have dreamt I'm verklempt because everything's coming up roses.
You really defied conventional wisdom by the success of The First Wives Club, that a woman or women couldn't carry a film.
Especially women our age. You didn't say that part.
Women your age. I was trying to be kind, Bette.
That's okay. I don't care. Women of a certain age.
What have you proven?
I'm not sure that you prove anything. My experience in picture making has been that every picture is a crapshoot, and you never really know what's going to happen.
Isn't it true, when you talk about folks in Hollywood not really understanding what's going to work, that they're looking at numbers and trying to understand who a target audience is, and they're...
That's been the death of pictures. That right there is the death of pictures. That is what's made this such a mess.
A target audience.
Market research has killed movies. Market research. This thing where they crunch numbers and they see, well, this demographic will go, and so the movie has to have this kind of character, that kind of character, this kind of automobile, that kind of, and it has to have a certain kind of an ending, and everything gets limited. It's taken the joyousness and the originality and the risk-taking. People don't take risks anymore.
Are you afraid of taking risks?
Not in pictures. Not in pictures.
And definitely not on stage, where since the early 70s, Midler has been entertaining audiences as the bawdy and outrageous divine Miss M.
In many ways, you're a walking dichotomy. People remember you as the divine Miss M, brash, strong, and then they try to reconcile that with the real Bette. What is the essence of the real Bette?
I don't think they bother. I don't think they try to reconcile.
Do you?
No, because the character is a creation.
He was a famous trumpet man from out Chicago way. He had a boogie style that no one else could play.
It's a character with a terrific heart, a terrific spirit, very upbeat and optimistic, very bawdy, and fearless too, really fearless.
But you once said, I had the nerve to create her on stage, but never the nerve to live it.
No. Oh, God, it's too much energy. It wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to be able to take it out, to trot it out, and have that fun on the stage. But I wanted a serious life, too. You know, I wanted to know how the world worked. And really, once I had my daughter, everything kind of took a back seat.
Maybe she'll cry.
How much of your work does your daughter get to participate in?
She was in my last HBO show.
Oh, she was?
She was. And she comes to the sets, and she is usually in every picture. She usually has works with the extras at least once. She really loves that.
Girls, I told you I'm a soccer mom. I have worked for Walt Disney. Oh my God, my past has returned to haunt me.
And as outrageous as she can sometimes be on stage, her ideas about child rearing are pretty traditional.
I think that if you can stay home, if you can afford it, if you are not driven into the marketplace by extenuating circumstances or by a strong desire to make some kind of art or some kind of personal expression, the best thing you can do is to stay home and raise your family, because you make a good citizen. In the early 70s, I remember women were feeling like, well, I'm just a homemaker. My mother was a homemaker. My mother was one of the most noble women I ever met, and I adored her. And she had tremendous gifts, but her family came first.
Do you still have to work?
No, I don't.
What is it?
I'm quitting. I'm retiring right now. This is my swan song. Goodbye, Paula.
Best of luck to
Thank you,
Mom Bette.
You heard it here first.
You look at your great success in the 70s and 80s, your film career.
That
made
was
a little
the 80s.
turnaround in the early 90s,
Yes.
and now you're back.
I go up and down, up and down, up and down. I probably, till the end of my days, I will be riding this roller coaster. It used to upset me, but it doesn't upset me anymore. When I turned 50, my husband threw me this big birthday party, which was a fabulous time for me to actually take some stock and look back. And I did that, and I was very, very proud for about a month. And then I went on, my usual roller coaster. But I'm okay. I'm okay.
They have me chairing the theater part, Bareshnikov chairing the dance part.
It's with some pride that Dustin Hoffman shows off the new theater at Santa Monica College in his hometown of Los Angeles.
So your job was raising money for this?
Well, I was the bait.
He admits to being a bit surprised when he got the call from the college he dropped out of more than 50 years ago.
I was the only celebrity person they could find in the Santa Monica roster. So they said, "You're an alumni." I said, "No, I got kicked out, I think, almost before I got through the first year." And they said, "You're an alumni."
At 71, Hoffman has now been a star for more than 40 years.
There are no more chances, Harvey.
In his latest movie, Last Chance Harvey, he plays Harvey Shine, a man whom life has disappointed and whose daughter nearly breaks his heart when she asks her stepfather to walk her down the aisle.
Brian's been a really big part of my life for the past few years. I'm gonna ask him to give me away tomorrow.
It's a part, Hoffman says, that was written specifically for him. And though in real life Hoffman walked his own daughter Jenna down the aisle, he and his character Harvey Shine have at least one disappointment in common.
I originally wanted to be a jazz pianist. I still want to be a jazz pianist.
And when Harvey Shine woos Kate Walker, played by Emma Thompson, at the piano, Hoffman is playing his own composition, Shoot the Breeze.
Is that one of yours?
Yes. The song is a song I wrote when I was in my 20s, when my first girlfriend left me for our acting teacher. The lyrics were written later by Bette Midler.
Are you nervous? Yes. Good.
Hoffman says the biggest thrill was performing the song with Sting at a benefit earlier this year.
So how you doing? Gee, you're looking good. I heard you moved from the neighborhood.
It's an extraordinary feeling to have a great artist singing your stuff.
I'm glad you called. I got nothing to do. Come on, let's shoot the breeze.
He knows a second career in music remains unlikely, but that doesn't stop him from hoping.
If I got tapped on the shoulder by God or whomever and said, you know, I'll make you a jazz pianist from now on, but you can't act anymore, I would take that in a second.
Ironically, it was failing at music that led him to where he is today.
When I was flunking out of Santa Monica College, someone said, take acting, and I said, why? And they said, you don't get flunked in acting. It's like gym. And what I discovered was something that I had never felt before.
He left L.A. and headed for Broadway, where he was a struggling stage actor for more than a decade. Struggling alongside him was Gene Hackman, who is still a good friend.
And New York beckoned us because we thought, we can work off Broadway, and if not off Broadway, off Broadway, and if not off Broadway, off, and that's what we did.
Frequently, though, he didn't work at all.
You get these rejections over and over and over again, which all actors get, year after year after year after year. You don't know if you're good because it hasn't been validated, and it's an extremely painful and frightening experience because you don't know whether you're conning yourself or not.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me. Aren't you?
His break came in 1967 with The Graduate, his first film. He was 29 when director Mike Nichols cast him as the confused 21-year-old Benjamin Braddock.
I learned years later that after they cut it, they started showing it at screening rooms, at producers' houses, things like that. And invariably, people would say, what a shame. Great movie, but he miscast the lead. Constantly. And they thought it was going to be a disaster.
They were wrong, of course. The Graduate was a huge hit. Hoffman was nominated for an Academy Award, an overnight success after years of effort.
I remember being unhappy that so many of the things that were written about me after The Graduate, it was as if I hadn't been studying the craft for over 10 years. It was that Nichols had found this funny-looking, passive, goofy guy, and that wasn't a character. That was a part I did in The Graduate. That was not me. And so when Midnight Cowboy came along, there was a bit of that. I'll show them that I'm an actor.
I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
In Midnight Cowboy, as the grimy street hustler Ratso Rizzo, Hoffman earned his second Oscar nomination and recognition that indeed he could act.
Hey, listen, don't get sore or anything, okay?
I ain't sore.
I don't think I can walk anymore. I mean, I've been falling down a lot. I'm scared.
Then the challenging roles just kept coming.
You guys eat?
Ted, I'm leaving you.
In 1980, he won his first Academy Award for the story of divorce, Kramer versus Kramer. He knew exactly what his character was experiencing. His own first marriage was breaking up, but not cleanly.
Well, you can't deny me access
Don't tell
to my
me
own...
what I can or cannot do.
You don't stop loving each other like that. You just stop, for whatever reasons, being able to share the same space. But the love is there, and that's the killer part.
In 1982's Tootsie, the story of an out-of-work actor who gets a job by pretending to be a woman, he had no experience as a female, but plenty of experience, apparently, as a difficult actor pursuing perfection. A reputation Hoffman and Tootsie's director, Sidney Pollack, had some fun with.
You've got one of the worst reputations in this town, Michael. Nobody will hire you.
Just as in the movie, Hoffman dressed as a woman and went to New York's Russian tea room before filming started to make sure he could play the role convincingly.
Wait a minute.
I knew in town and I'm awfully lonely. I wondered if you wouldn't mind buying me lunch.
Wait, hold on. You can't.
And John Voight was there, and I had done Midnight Cowboy with him. And I went over to him and got down, sat on my knees because he was sitting there, and I played the character, telling him what a great actor I thought he was, and I was an actress, and so I did it. He didn't know it. And
So did you tell John Voight then at some point in the tea room?
yes. Actors hate to be fooled. You got me. I hate that.
Ray,
Yeah.
do you know what autistic is?
Yeah.
You know that word?
Yeah.
His preparation to portray an autistic savant in Rain Man was equally thorough. His interaction with Tom Cruise was guided by the relationship of real-life brothers Peter and Kevin Guthrie.
Qantas.
Qantas?
Qantas never crashed.
Kevin was as handsome as Tom Cruise, and he was a football star at Princeton and had an autistic brother by the name of Peter.
Hoffman often called Kevin to ask exactly what Peter would say.
Would he say, no, I want to drive the car? And Kevin would say, no. He'd say, I'm an excellent driver.
I'm an excellent driver.
Yeah, that's good. Come on.
And I would say 90% of my dialogue in that movie came from Kevin telling me what Peter would say.
But for all the stories Dustin Hoffman has told as an actor, the real-life story of how he came to meet his wife is perhaps one of the most romantic. It began when he was 27 years old, still a mostly out-of-work actor, playing the piano at the home of a family friend, Blanche, when her young granddaughter, Lisa, showed up.
And Lisa, at 10 years old, was telling me that she was taking ballet lessons, and I said, go on, put on your ballet costume, I'll play the piano, and you'll do a little dancing, which she did. Years pass. I go back to New York, I get married, I get divorced, or getting divorced, I come back to Los Angeles to do a film.
And once again, he meets Lisa, now all grown up.
She's just graduated college now. She's going to start law school. She's 22. And we fall in love.
When they tell Lisa's grandmother, Blanche, they're getting married, she recalls the day they first met.
Blanche says, Lisa, do you remember that day when you were a kid and dancing years and years and years ago, and Dusty was playing the piano? Now, I have to be able to tell the story without crying. She says, and then after he got up and walked away, I said, and you were 10 years old, I said, he's a cute kid, isn't he? She says, you remember what you said, Lisa? And Lisa said, what? She says, yes, and I hope he waits for me, because when I grow up, I'm going to marry him.
Wow.
Camera's on him, I can wipe.
Now they've been married 28 years, have 4 children, plus 2 from Hoffman's first marriage.
Well, they asked me after we were raising this money over the years that they wanted to name the theater after me. I said, no, you don't do that.
At Santa Monica College, the theater he raised money to build bears the name of a major donor, developer Eli Broad. But inside, a facility has been named in Hoffman's honor, a very particular facility at his request.
There's not an actor in the world that would not want a toilet named after him, as long as the toilet is backstage, because one of the problems you have as an actor is you're always in the wings and suddenly you gotta go, and they say you gotta go all the way downstairs and go across, but I'm going on. So I said, if you build this theater, please give us a bathroom. So it's called the Eli Broad Theater.
With the Dustin Hoffman toilet. With his name up in lights for more than 4 decades, Dustin Hoffman is still looking forward to his next role.
I'm still crazy, as Paul Simon said, after all these years.
You can tell a politician to burn that bit of paper now. That's the bit that's missing.
Yes.
They are making Lawrence of Arabia all over again.
All you want is someone holding down the Turkish right.
Or at least small parts of it.
We'll get there before you do.
Peter
Then we've got
O'Toole inspecting himself as he was nearly 30 years ago.
What do I say afterwards?
Re-recording lost bits of dialogue.
But we've come back after the scene with Claudie.
The 16th.
And
Can you do it?
O'Toole and director David Lean trying to figure out what was said on a piece of film cut out of the movie. The soundtrack has been lost.
That's the blue is lost, or black?
Blue is lost.
Blue is lost.
Oh, I see.
So that's all right.
This is fun.
Let's-
The other half is
The Lawrence that Lean and O'Toole made in the sands of Morocco and Jordan ran 3 hours and 42 minutes at its premiere. 20 minutes were cut out so theaters could squeeze in an extra showing a day. 15 minutes more were cut when the film went on television. The bits and pieces aging away in vaults on 2 continents. To reconstruct it all would be a nightmare, but fans of the film lobbied Columbia Pictures to get it done.
I was 14 or 15 years old. It was in Phoenix, Arizona.
One of those fans, director Steven Spielberg, has special reason to remember the first time he saw Lawrence of Arabia.
Lawrence of Arabia, pretty master, real 1AB.
The lights slowly went down, and 4 layers of curtain opened, and finally, the Columbia lady with the torch came out, and Lawrence began. There was a sweep and a scope to the movie that I could feel the air coming off the screen and ruffling my hair.
No prisoners! No prisoners!
I was almost as mad as Lawrence at the end. You know, he swept up into this mad glory. Out of the theater, and I knew that filmmaking was no longer a hobby. It was something I really wanted to do for the rest of my life. I wanted to be a movie director based on that event.
That really propelled you into your career?
Yes.
Come on, then!
No wonder, then, that Spielberg helped direct the campaign to get Lawrence restored to its full original widescreen state. It was a technical triumph and a happy ending for a neglected masterpiece. But it's not the only example of lost, faded, or chopped-up films restored to life.
I don't pay that much for my Sunday breeches.
For instance, there is Becky Sharp, 1935, the first full-length feature in modern Technicolor. A faded shadow, colors drab, the sound murky.
Did you or did you not promise me that Lord Stane would have me appointed to some post?
Well, I've spoken to him, and he thinks you'd make a very fine consul.
But look at what a little tender loving care can do. It's no electronic trick, no computer colors. It's film restoration, pure and simple. In this case, the UCLA Film Archives tracking down the original negative, making a new print, and clearing the cobwebs away.
Dying for their country. Well, I'm dying for my breakfast. Hi, are you the new butler?
It works on black and white, too. You may be used to seeing My Man Godfrey like this. The film, probably a blurry copy of a copy of a copy.
Turn around and let me look at you. You're the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Thank you. Will there be anything else?
Yes, sit down and talk to me.
But careful cleaning and reprinting brings it out of the shadows.
Butler, you're the first protege I ever had.
Protege?
You know, like Carlo.
And for further proof of the wonders of film restoration, look in the vaults of Turner Entertainment, which owns the most famous movie of all time.
Red, you go. Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Existing prints of Gone with the Wind have deteriorated so that whole generations may have grown up thinking it was supposed to look all purplish and dark.
Over the years, duplication had been its own enemy. You lose subtleties of tone and sharpness and you build up grain. This was the problem with it. It was a victim of its own popularity.
Dick May of Turner supervised the 50th anniversary restoration of Gone with the Wind, going back to the original negatives stored all these years deep within a salt mine in Kansas. They produced astonishing color.
Friend from Charleston, Captain Rhett Butler.
We had the luxury of having 2 years to work on it to really get it right. And there was a lot of slow, go back, try again, trial and error to be sure we had the color exactly right and the mood exactly right, and then the work on the soundtrack.
But what difference does it make who you marry, so long as he's a Southerner and thinks like you?
Compare the print you're used to seeing on the right, the brand new copy on the left.
You mean to tell me, Katie Scarlett O'Hara, that terror, that land doesn't mean anything to you?
White land is the only thing.
At one time, all the old classic Warner Brothers Bogart movies and Ronald Reagan movies or whatever used to be in here, and of course now...
The man they call the godfather of film restoration is Robert Gitt of the UCLA Archives. He searches studio vaults and libraries around the world looking for lost scraps of sound and picture.
Sounds interesting. Yeah, see, there is some good stuff still here. Yeah.
Here at Warner Brothers, Gitt goes through the late Jack Warner's private vault, where even the studio veterans aren't sure what all those old cans contain.
King's radio address. Oh, yeah.
And here, Gitt is at the editing bench where he continues his detective work. Today, restoring one of the very earliest talking pictures, Noah's Ark from 1928. A film so chopped up over the years that reassembling it is like putting together a moving jigsaw puzzle.
This was basically a lost film as far as the complete version is concerned. We got a 9-reel version of this movie from the Cinémathèque Française in Paris. An 11-reel version, but with certain sections missing, was found at Warner Brothers in Burbank in their vaults. And a 7-reel version with certain other scenes that aren't in the 2 other prints were found at the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. So we're basically putting all these together now to try to restore the original full running time. Now here's a situation where this print has some scenes that were cut out of this one. So I've slugged in the exact length of leader.
It's a tricky process because the movie was made with the sound on big discs that had to be synchronized with the film.
It's wonderful how a train wreck brought us together. Isn't it, Marie?
For half a century, the discs were missing until Gitt discovered them, stashed away with some junk at Warner Brothers.
It's not a masterpiece exactly, but it moves along. It's a well-made film. So nobody has really seen the film, I would say, for about 60 years.
Hello once again and welcome to...
Preserving and restoring film isn't just the right thing to do, it's also becoming a profitable thing. More and more cable stations are running old movies, American movie classics, Ted Turner's TNT, and others.
What we have found over the years is if you keep preserving things, something will come along which will make it economically sound for you to have done so.
Roger Mayer is president of Turner Entertainment.
There are movies that we preserved 10, 15 years ago and have not used since that all of a sudden have a purpose and have a use. So really it's a sound economic thing to do because somebody's going to come up with a new way of showing movies, and if it's satellites to your garage.
Well, what's happening here is that the perforations were completely torn apart.
As a result, these are boom times at film labs that specialize in restoring old movies. At YCM Labs, Richard Dayton is cleaning up old soundtracks, trying to get the pops and crackles out. And there are the expert hands of Felipe Herba, gently, lovingly making repairs on the Fred Astaire movie Damsels in Distress.
It looks kind of a primitive way of doing, but there is no best way.
This is not a print. It's the original negative that went through the camera 52 years ago.
The thing that really gets me sometimes, the movies that I saw when I was younger, as a child, and I said, would I ever have thought that I would have this negative in my hands and make a new print of this, and
If it's not eat fast for men, sleep each morning till after 10, then the answer is yes, I want to be fed.
And as eerie as it might sound, technicians can actually improve on what the camera recorded so long ago. We are looking at Follow Through from the year 1930, one of the very few early Technicolor films for which the negative still survives. Printed on modern film stock, and the quality is amazing. But for film historians, it's a race against the clock and chemistry. For until safety film came along in the 1950s, movies were made on nitrate film, which becomes unstable with age. At archives around the world, nitrate is decomposing, turning to dangerous, flammable goo. Feature films, newsreels, the sights and sounds of a century, vanishing.
There is a saying among archivists, nitrate won't wait. And those materials before 1950 will inevitably, with absolute certainty, disappear, and tragically, if you care about them.
Bob Rosen's UCLA archives have already saved some early Laurel and Hardys, some Burns and Allen from disintegration. But there's not nearly enough money to copy all the other tens of millions of feet of nitrate film turned out by the studios so long ago.
What really is involved here is the collective memory of our century. And to let it turn to dust really is a shame, and it is an enormous loss that future generations will blame us for.
Every studio, I think, needs to go backlog and become little Indiana Joneses, become little adventurer archaeologists, and find out what they've got in the vaults that we might enjoy, and help save some of these films, and help save some of their own classics.
We leave you with one happy ending.
I wonder where Helen is. She should be here by this time.
For half a century, Hollywood has known that Howard Hughes shot part of his epic Hell's Angels in primitive color, but the film was lost until the late John Wayne's son found a copy in the actor's private film library. An American movie classic snapped it up for showing in the spring.
Oh, Helen!
Roy!
And there it is, the only known color footage of Jean Harlow, taken in 1930 when she was 19 years old. A rare piece of film history rediscovered.
Helen, may I have this next dance?
Of course. There you are.
Martin Scorsese's meticulous and unsparing approach to filmmaking,
if we wanted something, we just took it,
has made him one of the most acclaimed directors of all time.
You can see the difference clearly here.
And in his New York screening room, it was quite clear that he's not just passionate about movie making, but also movie caretaking.
Here, you see that now it suddenly comes to life.
It's like having a cataract removed or something
exactly,
like that.
which I've had done. And
it's a restored version of 1955's East of Eden, starring James Dean.
The actors come to life when their faces can be really perceived properly.
And if you look like James Dean, you want to see your face.
This is just one of the more than 950 films restored with the support of the Film Foundation, which has been essential to preserving cinematic history. It partners with studios and archives to ensure that everything from classic foreign films to Marilyn Monroe's final performance once again look like they did when they were first shot. The foundation was started by Scorsese in 1990 with a little help from his friends.
Spielberg, Francis Coppola, we got Stanley Kubrick, but the key figure was George Lucas.
Like the plot of many a Tinseltown thriller, Scorsese and his fellow directors realized the threat to the film industry was coming from inside the house. It was film itself. The earliest stock, nitrate film, was highly flammable and could decompose with age. That's a big reason why up to 75% of all silent films have been lost. Its successor, acetate film, was safer but had its own issues. And like many a career in Hollywood, it lacked staying power.
By the early 70s, it was decreed that every film had to be made in color. And just at that point in which color became so important, well, the negative stock became weaker, and within 6 years, whatever prints we could find were faded. And it just seemed crazy. I have to do everything in color, and now the color doesn't last. Not only doesn't it last after 20 years, 6 years? Oh, come on.
Scorsese's fear of fading color was partly why he shot his now classic 1980 film Raging Bull in black and white.
A left and a right to the head, a hard left down to the body, and Robinson is driven out of the ring.
That same year, he fired off an urgent letter to filmmakers saying, "Everything we're doing right now means absolutely nothing."
It was an angry letter it was kind of, I guess, overly enthusiastic. But I wanted to get the attention.
You were basically putting folks on notice. We got a problem.
Yeah, we got a real problem here, and what we should do is force them to deal with this.
Scorsese led a campaign to convince Eastman Kodak to develop a more stable film stock, and then focused on the studios, worried Hollywood's history was vanishing.
The most important thing was being overlooked, and those were the films in their vaults.
Saving them wasn't necessarily the biggest priority.
Andrea Callis oversees the archive at Paramount Pictures, our sister company. In the early 80s, Scorsese presented the major studios with detailed lists of the films they should preserve.
His encyclopedic knowledge of film is literally unparalleled.
Have you seen the Paramount list?
I have, yeah. It's amazing that he was able to do that, right? To just sit down with the incredible output of every studio and just go, yep, no, yep, no, yep, no. It's an important list, and it's one that's shared with us that helps guide our preservation program, among other things.
Callis was brought on to expand Paramount's preservation effort. They've now restored more than 1,500 films, stored at 28 degrees in this state-of-the-art vault. These films are the source material for each new technology that's come along, from DVDs to 4K streaming.
That's nice. You're seeing a lot more detail in that.
Even movies you might not consider that old, such as 1986's Ferris Bueller's Day Off, already need some work.
I recall Central Park in fall.
Paramount recently partnered with the Film Foundation to present some of the restored films from its library. Callis says the foundation has been essential in making sure Hollywood preserves its film past.
We always have before and afters in restorations. You know, it looked like crap and now it looks great. Same thing with film preservation. Before the Film Foundation and after is really dramatic.
It's been that impactful.
It's that impactful, absolutely.
Footloose, Saving Private Ryan.
The Film Foundation also works with institutions like the Film Archive at the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences, the folks that hand out the Oscars.
The Academy wanted to put its skin into the game, to be a part of that movement, to start taking care of films in need of restoration.
Mike Pogorzelski is director of the archive.
The image is literally just melted away.
Wow, yeah, it's just gone.
He says film preservation is not just about caring for Oscar winners, but lesser-known films too, including the 1943 film The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, a Technicolor marvel and Scorsese favorite.
Then, Mr. Candy, you are Livingston, I presume?
Restoring it was a labor of love.
Extremely complicated because of the fact that there was actually mold spores growing on the film itself, an absolutely monumental task that no archive could have taken on by itself without the Film Foundation's support.
One of the Academy Archive's longest-running projects was a digital restoration with the Criterion Collection of acclaimed Indian filmmaker Satyajit Ray's Apu trilogy. Its negatives were severely damaged in a nitrate fire.
The preservation effort moved from taking care of these deteriorating originals to suddenly scouring the world, looking for any surviving film elements so that they could basically be pieced together, almost like a jigsaw puzzle. In a lot of ways, the Apu trilogy looks better in the 2000s than it did in the 1950s when the films were brand new.
What is it like when you sit in a screening room and you see one of these fully restored?
It is an amazing experience. Being able to carry movies like this into the future is one of the greatest and most meaningful parts of what we do here.
This is an Italian poster of the first movie I can remember seeing by title.
And Martin Scorsese, who has been called the patron saint of film preservation, is likely to be remembered not only for the films he's made, but also for the many he's helped save.
How important is this part of your legacy to you?
I always thought it was more important. I guess I was more of a teacher than a filmmaker. I particularly enjoy younger people seeing these films, and whether their reaction is, I reject it completely, I hate it, or they become inspired and make some beautiful works of art that enrich the lives of the whole world. this is what we're here for, to enrich each other's lives through art.